Brothers and sisters, there is halal gossip. So, there are two types of gossip in Islam: negative gossip and positive gossip, or halal gossip. Now remember, we said in Arabic, gossip is to mention about a person or a group something when in their absence, they're not there, something they dislike, they hate, or you know that anyone would hate it. And one of the best ways to look at it is if you were in their place and someone spoke about you that way, would you like it? I've had teenagers at school who say to me, I don't mind. No, that's not true. They're just saying it there and then to look heroic or strong. But in general, if I were to take that teenager from that group of students at school and put them in another setting outside, let's say in front of parents or whatever, will they like it? No. So, talking about someone, putting yourself in their place in all the different situations, nobody would like it, so don't say it about others. So, however, there are halal ways, and in fact there are some, as I said in the beginning of my lecture, where you're obliged if you can. So let's have a look at them. They are 6. 6 halal ways Islam has permitted gossip. Number 1, when you are wronged or your right has been taken from you. In this case, you are allowed to complain to someone who can do something about it, mention it to someone who can help you get your right back. In doing that, you will need to talk about specific people and what they did, correct? That normally is gossip negatively because it's in their absence, you're talking to someone else about it, and they don't want you to say it. But in this case, this is your right. You are the victim. And how can you get your property or your right back without speaking? Islam did not come to tell you gossip is haram even if it's against your rights. No. If it is a complaint seeking your right and you are wronged, you are allowed to mention the thing which the other person has wronged you with, even in detail. One verse in the Quran, in Surah 4, number 148, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم وكان الله سميعا عليما. Allah does not like speaking evil publicly. He doesn't like you to go around speaking evil about others publicly. Unless one has been wronged, Allah is all hearing, all knowing. Forgive me, I did this. I'm not trying to, a'udhu billah, say anything wrong about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes we automatically move like this. So Allah, His hearing is not like us. Allah is all hearing and He is all knowing. So a person is allowed to talk, even publicly, about the rights that have been taken from them. For example, even to this point, let's say someone, you lent them money and they promised to give it back to you and they didn't give it back. You give them time. They start taking their time and then you find out they could have given it back to you, but they've gone and invested it and they're making profit out of it. And you are suffering. Maybe you're in need of money yourself and you've reminded and tried, but this person continues to oppress you. And then you came to the mosque while everybody is here and stood up after salah and say, my brothers and sisters, so-and-so person lent money from me and I've been after him and he doesn't give me right and my children are like this and I am getting harmed from them and I've done. That is not haram. That is your right. Because a Muslim is a human and a human can get frustrated and our patience has a limit. So Allah gives us a room to breathe. And one of the ways to breathe is to vent out the wrong that someone has done to you after you've tried to fix it, after you've tried to get your right back. Of course, the condition of that is that it has to be genuine. It's not that I want to use this time to get back at someone and then I exaggerate. That's haram. Everything within balance and it has to be fair. So that's the first halal gossip. What is the second halal gossip? It's called warning. Warning someone about someone who can cause them harm. So let's say you know that someone is going to hang around with someone else, or you heard that someone is about to extort someone else's wealth, or someone is going to hurt someone else, or someone is going to be a witness, and you know that that witness is lying or is not trustworthy. In this case, mentioning and telling someone else about that person who's going to cause harm is not haram. It's gossip, but it's halal gossip. Why? Because you're protecting the rights of others. Of course, again, the condition is it should not be a malicious opportunity for someone to exaggerate and get back at someone. And you must be absolutely sure. If you're doubtful, you say, look, I've heard like this. Like the man who came to Musa alayhi salam and said, Inna al-qawma ya'tamiruna liyaqtuluk. The people of Pharaoh right there, and he pointed to those people, so he knows which people. They are conspiring to kill you, O Moses, run away. Even if you need to mention the name of the person, you are allowed. Number 3, what is the third way of halal gossip? When you're seeking advice or fatwa. Sometimes you may sit with a scholar or a learned person for a religious matter in which you need to mention the name of someone. Are you allowed to do that? Yes. Or you're seeking advice from somebody who can advise you. A counselor, a therapist, a family member, a level-headed friend who can give you good advice. Anybody. You can seek the advice from anybody who can help you with your situation, whether it's a scholar for a fatwa of religion or general life experience or anything like that. You may say, such and such a person, I had this issue with them and they did this. What can you advise me to do? I want to settle it, I want good out of it, or I want to protect myself, or what can you advise me? Sometimes you may go to a scholar, an imam or someone of knowledge, to say, you know, my cousin so-and-so, or my father, or my mother, or my brother and sister, or my friend so-and-so, or another imam or someone, this thing happened between us and he said this and she said that and they did this. Give me a fatwa. Am I allowed to do this or that? Are you allowed to do that? Yes. For example, inheritance. Someone died in the family. One of the siblings claims that all this money is theirs and that they say the person who passed away had gifted it to them before they died or something, and there is suspicion there, and you go to a sheikh or scholar and you have to mention your brother, he claimed this or he claimed that. This is gossip, but it is halal gossip because you're seeking advice and fatwa. You have a problem with someone, a situation, you say, how do I deal with it? And you go to somebody who doesn't have to be a scholar, but a person who you trust in their advice and you like their advice and they can advise you. The condition is that you don't exaggerate. You don't use it as an opportunity to degrade someone. That's not your intention. And number 3, you're sincerely and genuinely wanting good advice for a good reason, not for a bad reason. Right? So that's number 3. Number 4, halal gossip is identity. Identity. You're identifying someone. So you know that mentioning negative gossip about someone also includes talking about their features, for example. Somebody has a strange eye, or a crooked nose, or a weird teeth, or a strange limp, or a strange voice. Anything about them is negative. We shouldn't be talking about people's features, negative features. If they dislike it, of course. But you want to say something good about them, or you want to remember someone, or you want to deal with someone in a good way, for a good reason, and you could not remember their name, and then the person in front of you knows that if you mention the feature, they might know him. So you say, you know, the person who normally has a limp in their left leg, everybody knows him. Now, you're intending to just identify, not to ridicule. in that case, it is halal gossip. SubhanAllah, some people turn it into a business to joke about other people's shortcomings and disabilities. Even if somebody truly is disabled, a person who is mentally disabled or physically disabled, we should not ever talk about their disability unless we need to. Number 5, halal gossip. Marriage proposal or some kind of business partnership. Anything involving contract, a bond, an agreement, a promise between two people, sometimes you need to ask about that person. Someone may come to you saying, look, my daughter has been approached, has been proposed to by so-and-so. And I know that you know the family, you know the brother. What can you tell me about him? Even if you ask, do you know if they've had struggles with substance abuse? Normally, we don't talk about people's sins. That's haram. But only in this case, where someone else is about to share a life with this person, or they're going to share their property and their wealth, you want to know if they're trustworthy. Then it's halal to mention some negative things about that person, which in normal cases it would be haram. Does that make sense? Some scholars said, if a person approaches you about a proposal for themselves or for their daughter or for their son or for anyone in their family, and they want to ask you about them, and it involves them, some scholars say it is actually an obligation. You have to. You have to mention anything serious about them to them, but they said within condition. You have to say it with respect. You have to try and mention more good than bad about that person, unless the person is just a dropkick, loser, completely gone. And you don't intend, like you don't have a malice intention. Let's say someone approached you about the marriage to such and such a girl, and you had the intention to also probably marry that girl, but you just didn't get there in time. And the person comes to you and you say, I'm going to wipe the floor with this guy so that she doesn't take him and I can go and propose to her. Well, let's say I want to buy a house, and then I tell you, listen, that person in the house is a lowlife, he's a cheat. And then you go away, then I go and buy the house. So in this case, this is terrible. This is a major sin. But any other case, if it's genuine and honest, and you know, it's an obligation. But if you're not sure, say, I'm not sure. Number 6, and the last one, halal gossip, is when you need to talk about a public sinner, a person who parades their sin and doesn't care. But of course, there is a limit to how you talk about that. If talking about that public sinner is unnecessary, don't talk about them. If talking about the public sinner is going to lead to greater harm, don't talk about them. But if there is a need to warn people, to talk about their action, which they are doing in public, then do so. So for example, somebody drinks in public, takes drugs, and everybody knows about it. This is a person who, if you spoke about with an intention to warn people, because this is community and public interest, then it is allowed. Especially if you know that people who are good are going to mix with them or go with them or get influenced by them, or they have an appeal to them or attracted to them. It's important for a Muslim to guard and help other people and other Muslims from falling into the trap of this person. Now, you might be at work, and at work there are some employees who smoke cigarettes. But they don't smoke cigarettes in front of other people. They try to move away and smoke it, let's say in their break behind a wall somewhere, and then you saw them, is that counted as public sinner? Because we know that smoking cigarettes is actually haram. It's a minor sin, but it's a sin. Should you talk about that person? No. A person goes round the corner and you see a boy and a girl, for example, who are not lawful for each other, they hugged and kissed. Islamically, this is forbidden, of course. Should you go and publicize them? Is this a public sinner? No. They're trying to hide it. You can go and advise them. Of course, if there is going to be harm to someone else, then you advise them, and if they don't listen, then you can inform the victim, the person who is involved and will be harmed. So anyway, each case by case, sometimes it's very difficult to tell you whether you should say something or not. Before doing anything, brothers and sisters, always seek advice from someone learned of what you should do, so that we don't turn a problem that can be resolved into a bigger problem that cannot be resolved. And this is a very important rule in Deen, that it is forbidden to change a bad thing if changing it is going to lead to something worse. You leave it. So these are the 6 ways. If you are wronged, for complaint, warning, advice and fatwa, identification, marriage proposal and business partnership, public sinner.